But it's a token that represents that card so you don't damage the card.
Right.
We should do that with bourbon. We should like put out the Russell's 13 and be like, we're going to drink this Old Crow, but just know it represents the Russell's 13. Welcome back to Arsenic Culture. I am Matt.
I'm still drinking. I'm Jason.
I'm Drew. We have a great fan base. We have many tens of people that watch this show. One of our
my
biggest,
dog really enjoys this.
Yeah, old Loki. He's
Loki,
he's actually been pushing us to do Patreon.
Got a hair right here. There you go.
We're not going to talk about where that came from. But one of our biggest fans has actually it's reached out to us and wants us to kind of change the format up a little bit. And in order to make this fan happy, which is my mom, she said we need to cuss less. So. I
agree.
The algorithm probably agrees with her. So, I mean, there's other incentive to do that. But yeah, my poor mom, she's like, Matthew, I love all of your shows, but do you have to say so many bad words? And I was like, I mean, Mom, we are who we are. But she doesn't see that side of me because even though she raised me. So I love you, Mom. And okay. So, but I got a question for you guys.
I got the answer.
We talk a lot about bourbon. We talk a lot about spirits.
We do.
There is this mentality in really every part of that industry. Like no matter if you're talking about rum, you're talking about beer, you're talking about bourbon, you're talking about wine, of collecting, okay? And this is a normal thing, but people buy, they collect, and then they don't do anything with it. They don't drink it.
Yep.
They don't sell it. They put it away, and it just stays there unopened until they die.
Yep.
Yeah.
Obviously, you drink some stuff, but what is up with that?
I think it's like anything else. You know, I was actually traveling for work a little bit recently in Indiana, around the Evansville area. My son enjoys Pokemon cards, like collect them. He doesn't play the game necessarily, but I went into a couple card shops and I noticed there's cards in there. Have you looked at values of like Pokemon and basketball and baseball cards lately?
You mean just the expensive ones?
Just, well,
Like
yeah.
the high dollar ones?
Yeah.
'Cause
Do you know how much a pack of cards is now? Like,
probably $5.
yeah, so that's Pokemon's about $5 for
Right.
retail. But if
Yeah.
you look at like basketball and baseball,
Yeah.
there's some of those packs that are over $100 retail.
Just for a pack.
Just for one
and
pack.
you're talking about,
How many
I
cards?
don't know what's in it. It's a surprise.
Like 3
Do they still have that piece of gum that you chew it 3 times and break a tooth?
Yeah.
No, but there's actually a
tops
card
ones.
shop I found up there that had some of that, and I bought a pack.
Did you read the gum?
No, I've not opened them yet. I also bought a pack of 1989 Upper Deck King Griffey Jr. rookie card. I'm like,
Nice.
let's go. Let's try to get there. you know?
Okay, right on.
I'm going to save it. I'm going to put it in my mantle just to observe it.
Yeah.
But I think it starts with that, though. So that's like,
I get it.
That's a showpiece, right?
The kind of collecting mentality, yeah.
So I think with bourbon or beer sometimes, you'll have people, and I've done this too, I'm guilty of it, is to get a really nice bottle, and you want to share it with people. You don't want to drink it by yourself, so you're waiting for the right time. Well, the right time, 3 years later, 5 years later, 10 years later, and then it's past its prime. You're like, I don't even want to open it.
Yeah.
So then you end up with a beer just sitting there.
Yeah, yeah.
With bourbon, I think, though, people view it as a status symbol, too. Think of it as like collecting watches,
Yeah.
car collection, something like that. Much less expensive than those for
Yeah.
the most part, but it's a status symbol.
It is, and I think that it kind of goes with that collecting thing, and we had talked about this before. It's like, are they speculating on the appreciation of some of these things? I mean, and we all know some people who have some very extensive bourbon collections and seen them, but
I feel attacked. I don't know.
it's getting personal. But it's like in those situations, some of those people will open those bottles and feel free to drink them unless they have something that's extremely, extremely rare, where it's like, there's one of 3 bottles left in existence or whatever.
right.
You're not going to open those
Yeah.
because they're worth, 6 figures. But for me, I'm like a middle of the road bourbon guy. Like I've got a few nice bottles, and if I find a bottle to replace it, I open one, like I like to have one on the shelf,
And yeah.
but I'll like, hey, I've got an extra one. Let's open this one and, enjoy it. So
I think that's a common line of thought is that
It's my thought a lot of times. Like I want to wait, or I used to always wait till I had a backup before I'd open the bottle.
Because you're afraid if it's gone and you can't get it again,
it's too good, I'll miss it.
then it's gone.
FOMO.
Yeah,
Fear
it is
of missing
FOMO.
out.
And then
Yeah.
it's funny because once you're out of it, it just got really
Right.
It got better. You know what I mean?
Well, but the thing too about that, I'd say probably the nicest bottle of bourbon that I've ever had, and I still have some of it, is an Old Fitz 11-year, that real nice decanter, BIB.
Super nice bottle.
And I had it just shelved for a couple of years. And when I sold my business, I was like, you know what? This is a good reason to open this bottle.
Right.
And now I don't have that juice, but I have the memories of when we drank, when we cracked a bottle. And so for me, it's also like, you saying some of those special times when you want to drink it. It's like, well, now you're creating memories that, when that bottle's just sitting there, you're not going to go, oh, I remember when I bought that $300 or whatever bottle.
Yeah.
But you're going to go, I remember when I opened that, or I remember the time when we shared it with friends. And I think that's the cool part about opening nice bottles.
100% agree with you. I think I'm a collector at heart. Like, I grew up collecting baseball cards, basketball cards, which you don't do anything with them. Even trades, I was like, I don't know if I want to trade that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like you get the fear of like not getting it back, or you might get ripped off, or this might be worth more.
Yeah.
You're looking
I get
up in
that
the
fear.
Beckett catalog.
Hey,
to see
exactly.
what-
I remember that. Yeah. Mine's $1.20. Yours is $1.18. You owe me some boot. Like, come on.
Yeah, I remember I had a catalog and it had, I think it had Frank Thomas on it. And I was
Yeah.
like, this catalog's going to be worth something. I'm going
That's
to hold
right.
on to the catalog.
Some of those Beckett's are, no
Yeah.
joke. Some of Sports Illustrated in the past, Rolling Stone magazine, whatever. But I think what it shows you, and what I've learned as I've kind of grown with spirits, bourbon, beer, whatever, is that the right time's now. You can't take it with you always, right? I mean, it's great to save a special bottle, but a lot of times you just got to open one.
And that's a very mature way of thinking, which is odd for you.
I'm very mature.
But I theorize that this hobby of bourbon, and even going back to collecting cars for that matter, I don't think it brings that out in people. I think it attracts those types of people.
Yeah.
So I think the people that you see that are big into bourbon, they all have something in common, and it is that they like to collect. I don't think you see a whole lot of, and there is some wiggle room here, especially on the production side. But when it comes to like bourbon, the people that you see buying bourbon bottles are, okay, there you go. All these people are the type of people that like to collect stuff. I don't think you see a lot of people going out looking for rare bourbons that don't collect things in general.
100%.
You know what I mean?
I think it started here locally in Kentucky with Maker's Mark bottles.
Yeah.
We had the a Keeneland series for a horse racing track.
Yeah.
We had the UK memorabilia, like different ones of those.
Probably 3% of those bottles ever get opened.
Oh, I've got a huge collection at home. Literally,
Yeah.
I've been collecting it since I was underage. Like, Dad would buy the bottle for me. I wasn't drinking it. It was just more to have like UK players in there and get their autographs. Like, it was pretty awesome.
Yeah, exactly right.
As we're talking though, I'm gonna open this one. So this is the newest Russell's Reserve 13.
Yeah.
This is their highest proof they've ever released, 123.8.
It looks gross.
Very rare bottle, hard to get. I don't know if I want to open it, but I'm gonna go ahead and open it.
Yeah, speaking of, well, see, but I'm sure you've got like 12 of those.
I actually don't. This is the only one I've got. Oh my God. I'm gonna put
Nobody saw that. We'll just resell it and resell it. So, no, I think the industry as a whole, it's the type of people that get into this are the people that get into a lot of different things. And I think you kind of like prove that point when, you talk about growing up and the different types of things you collected. I did the same thing. I had baseball cards. I never got into Pokemon cards. I had Marvel comic cards. I still got like a set of those at home. You know what I mean?
But I saw something, one thing I collected growing up was Magic cards. So Magic the Gathering.
I still got a bunch of those.
I never got into that.
I don't have any left, but I was more of a player. Like I was pretty good. I mean, I won some tournaments, won some big cards. I sold my entire collection twice. I won it back in the poker game and then sold it.
That's
again.
hilarious.
Long story. But anyway, my friend owns all my cards now and they're worth a lot of money. I almost cussed. A lot of money though.
Mom, you have my permission to.
I did not cuss. I almost cussed. But my friend has a lot of money now. So I think when I look back at Magic, so you could play with the cards. You need them to play a game. But there was a lot of those cards worth a ton of money.
Right.
You would see at tournaments, the big national tournaments that I would go to, like here in the States, like Ohio, Columbus area would host some, Indy.
Right.
So I would go and play, and you would see people that have these deck protectors.
Yeah.
So they're plastic sleeves, and they're lightly shuffling, make sure they're not scarred, whatever. And then tournaments progress to be, these cards are worth so much, you can put a piece of paper that says what the card is and keep your real card here.
Isn't that hilarious?
You have to have the card, but to prove it.
Right. But it's a token that represents that card so you don't damage the card
right.
and it can retain its value.
Now, on the flip side of that,
We should do that with bourbon. We should like put out the Russell's 13 and be like, we're going to drink this Old Crow, but just know it represents the Russell's 13.
it's really Russell's 13.
Yeah, it'd be like, oh, dude, I've gone through 12 bottles of this shit. Stop,
That's
sorry,
good.
Mom. Damn it! Anyway,
That was
go
him.
on. Yeah.
So, the flip side of that, though, is some of these tournaments, there was international players that would come in. I remember it. So what they would do, they didn't care. They'd be out there, at the time, $200 card worth a lot. That same card today is over $10,000. But anyway, they're like bending it, like you're shuffling deck of
Like
cards.
it's a bicycle deck.
Like bending the hell out of it. Corners frayed, card
Creases
bending
all
too.
through it and everything.
everybody in the tournament's like looking at them like, what are you doing? They don't care.
Oh, my
So I think you see both sides, even the bourbon collectors too. Like some people might clutch this bottle or a bottle like it forever. King of Kentucky, we've drank a lot on this show. But some people clutch those and I get it, but you got to open it. You got to let it go.
You do. A lot of people, I think, that enjoy bourbon but aren't into collecting things. I mean, obviously, it makes sense. They don't collect bourbon, but it's just like, I think you go into those people's houses and they'll probably just have 1 or 2 bottles of bourbon at any given moment, And maybe they've tried this here and there and stuff like that, but I don't feel like you see a lot of those people going out, standing in line, trying to win a Pappy lottery.
Well, a lot of times you'll see in that collection, people that are collecting like that bourbon, you'll see guys that have a Pappy Van Winkle vertical, an Old Fitzgerald vertical.
Oh, yeah.
And their bar that's opened, they have Old Crow. They have Woodford Reserve. They have
And that's their go-to or whatever, yeah.
And their big bottles, Blanton's and Weller, and you're like, you've got $100,000 on the shelf. Let's open one of those.
Yeah, yeah. There are anomalies in that, and I'll bring up an example. Our buddy Pat. Yeah. Okay.
Oh yeah.
So we went to Pat's house, and we did that episode where he let us try some of his A.H. Hirsch, which is
We tried a lot of other stuff too, but it's
yeah,
off camera.
but that's like the stuff that he has is extraordinary.
Oh, yeah.
But almost every single one of his bottles are open. He's like one of those weird like anomalies to where he's in a position to where he can get the good stuff, but he's not a collector per se. See, I still think there might be an element of him being a collector, but he opens everything. He doesn't
exactly.
He doesn't shelf it. He doesn't let it collect dust. Like he'll have, at any given time of these rare whales, he'll have like 30 bottles open, and a lot of them are multiples. You know what I mean? It's just like it's just whatever. To him, it is really about the bourbon. I feel like, but there's not a lot of people that are like that.
Well, and he is also a collector of cars and other stuff too. But like the thing about Patrick that I've learned is like he is an experience guy.
Oh, yeah.
He wants to enjoy the experience of whatever it is.
It's like he's collecting the experience.
Right. It's travel, but he wants to have those good times. He wants to remember those events. Like, hey, we opened this, and he can remember who he drank it with. Like
we had
those are some
we had
cool
a
things.
blast over there talking with him, even if we weren't opening great stuff. I mean, it was a fun time.
Yeah.
We opened a lot of stuff off camera, crazy stuff, and honestly, couldn't have been more gracious host. Like he said, open whatever you want, and I'm like sweating. I'm like, I can't. I can't.
Yeah.
I like to
He
open
kept having
stuff.
to adjust his pants and
dude.
like walk bent over like this.
I was like, I can't stand up for a while. I don't know what's going on. But, looking at that, even me, I like to open bottles, but sometimes I clutch some a little too long maybe.
Sure.
But him, I mean, he's the guy bending his magic cards.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? Like,
exactly.
I
But
don't
he's
care.
got them all. Yeah.
But he also was in a good spot to where he bought most of those at retail or close to retail.
He did.
So perfect.
Again, kind of
perfect
goes
timing.
along with the anomalous part of the story, but yeah, he bought all his stuff prior to the bourbon boom. Like nobody wanted A.H. Hirsch when he bought it, so
They
he was
wanted
like
Pappy, yeah.
But he was in a unique position that he's like, okay, I'll take all 3 cases. And back then, people were like, look at this sucker.
Thank God.
Yeah, but the guy at the liquor store was like, I just made $100 off of this one guy, And then 20 years later, he's like, oh man, unbelievable. No, but it's something that has always just kind of like, it's made me think, and I'm trying to reason with it because there is so much high quality, we'll say bourbon, for example. It goes for anything. It goes for wine especially. But there is so much high quality, high dollar stuff out there that is just sitting on people's shelves. I won't see it. Drew, you won't see it. Jason, you won't see it. I'm talking like volume wise.
Oh, I know.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
We've even discussed about, I don't know if I can say this, but I think we talked about in another episode, like the prospect of Pappy maybe artificially creating demand.
No, they do,
by
I think.
holding back. Yeah.
Yeah.
But if that, you just say that, hypothetically speaking, let's say something like that is true, but then you couple that with the people not wanting to open their bottles that they have, it's just like
It's further driving up
the actual
driving
market.
down
Yeah,
supply.
the actual market of this is something in the single-digit percentage of availability.
I think there's a difference. So, you look at, let's talk beer for a second. Zombie Dust from Three Floyds. When I first tried that beer, it was one of the hardest beers to get that we could get in distro.
Right.
You would go to Liquor Barn or big box store here, line up, get lucky. Maybe somebody dropped one. You get one 12-ounce bottle.
Of a pale ale. For anybody that doesn't know, this is a regular pale ale.
Yeah, they made the artificial demand. You could go to the distillery at any time and buy what you wanted.
Brewery.
Sorry, brewery.
Brewery, right, yeah.
They have a distillery now. So
They do have a distillery now, and they closed the
actually
brewery,
shut
which
the
is so
brew
weird.
pub, shut the brew pub
Yeah.
down. But they were artificially creating that demand because they would throttle distribution, limit it out, make it so limited. With Pappy, though, I feel like they're almost like a luxury car brand.
Yeah.
Could they make 10 more McLarens a year?
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah.
But you're going to cut down the quality.
Yes.
I think Pappy's staying, that's what they're trying to do, is stay in that realm. Because they could sell as many barrels or bottles as they want. They're not jacking the price up. Like their price for a 23-year-old bottle of Pappy, I think retails under $500, which is insane.
That is insane.
That's insane.
Retail for any bourbon like that, that's insane. You know,
I mean, it's over, I don't know, over $3,000, secondary.
yeah.
So
and I agree with you to a degree, but like where the analogy breaks down is
you can
that
just stop when you agree with this.
well, where the analogy breaks down is that like the McLarens aren't just flying off the shelves.
Like
Like
a wait list though in those cars, right? I mean, yeah.
yeah, but like if they printed more McLarens, they wouldn't just go like that.
It would drive
I don't
down
think.
the value.
Yeah.
Possibly, but like with the Pappy, if they printed more Pappy, it'd be gone. It would be gone.
Agreed.
Like immediately. Eventually, the value would come down because like supply is going to meet demand. It's-
Secondary would come down for sure.
Yes, exactly, and that's just the way it goes.
Yeah.
But it's just like again, this is just a weird anomalous situation to where it is. I mean, it is kind of inflated demand, but it's even more inflated because of the inflation of the demand because people don't want to open what they have and they're hoarding it, and then it's like we never get to see it.
Well, do you think, again, we're just using McLaren as an example, if they made more McLarens, would those people who are in the market for McLarens then
Not
turn...
want the McLaren.
They want a Bugatti.
Right. They would go to something else because that exclusivity is not there anymore.
Same with Pappy.
I think that's a super valid point.
I remember a story, and clearly it was a story, several years back that Jerry Jones, the owner of the Dallas Cowboys, wanted Pappy. He wanted to be able to serve it in his luxury suites to his friends and whatever. And he's like, well, I'll just call him up and get some. They're like, no.
It don't work that way.
It don't work that way. He's like, what do you mean? Like, this was before bourbon secondary we knew about it and stuff,
Yeah.
but that's a pretty cool story. Like,
Yeah.
if you had Jerry Jones calling you and wanted anything I had,
Like, no.
and would pay a premium, no, I'd sell him whatever I had. But I mean, to say no, it's like, man, you're really staying true to the brand. So I'll give them some props there.
Right.
They have really stayed true to that brand. It's been pretty cool.
Yeah, even though it's not worth the price.
No. Well, it's worth, most of it's worth retail, right?
Yeah.
It's worth a little bit of secondary, but people just inflated that so much. It's the holy grail. It's the Bugatti that you're buying secondary in bourbon.
It is, and like we talk about experiences, which I think are really the most important part of all of this. You know, sharing with people.
It's like beer shares. Yeah.
I think Pappy has kind of just jumped the shark to where I think if you open one, you've never had it. Let's just say, for example, with your friends, and you're like, "Oh man, this is amazing! It's a treasure." I feel like it's one of those things that like 2 years down the road, you're like, "Why the hell did I hold on to that for so long?"
right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then the bottle is like 3/4 empty, and you'd be like, "That was really a waste of my time." Even though the experience was valued there.
So what do you think about this one? So the Russell's 13, the newest release, the
I
highest
want to
proof
make
they've ever
a
done.
smart ass comment about you and stuff like that, but I can't. This is fantastic.
It's
but
really good.
I love the Russell.
Yeah, I mean, we're
Russell
all
line.
fans of the Russell brand.
This
I
is
think.
a top.
Not Russell brand.
No,
the,
not Russell
the
brand.
Russell brand.
good Russell Brown stuff out there. Yeah, but this is probably a top. It's a top 5 Russell's pour, wild turkey pour I've had.
Yeah.
If you count Dusty's, it's a top 10, like old stuff. But I'm impressed.
Yeah.
I've had some 13s. I've been fortunate enough to try all the other ones, and this is by far the best. It might even be better than the Russell's 15 last year, and that's saying a lot.
I thought you just said I've been forced to try them all. I'm like, oh, that's so sad for you.
I have.
I feel bad.
Yeah, I've been unfortunate enough to try them. So I'm a buy.
Yeah, yeah.
Anyway.
No, this is great. I appreciate you sharing. That's
thank
awesome.
you so
welcome.
much.
Yeah.
It's fantastic.
Open your stuff, everybody.
Open your shit. Sorry, Matt's mom.
Mom! Guys, if you like this and share it, we sincerely appreciate it. For more Arsenic Culture, you can check us out on all of the socials. We are at Arsenic Culture,
Like and subscribe on YouTube.
and we'll see you on the next one.